everybody. We've got Judge Rob back on the show this week. Rob, were you just here?
I was. We had weird deja vu when I came back into the studio today. We were like, wait, is it Dominaria already?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it is not Dominaria
It's not.
already. Thank goodness. We haven't even had Streets of New Capenna on Arena yet.
it's true.
But Rob is here to talk to us about Oathbreaker a little bit because this is a super sweet format. We played it actually in a video. I'll put the link up on our YouTube and in the show notes. If you want to watch us all play some Oathbreaker, it's a really fun format. And we want to talk about some new cards in Streets of New Capenna that you can use in Oathbreaker to make some really sweet decks with. But just in case you're like, what are you talking about, Maria?
Yeah.
I don't even know what Oathbreaker is. Rob's going to tell us.
Yeah. So Oathbreaker it's designed to be fast commander in a lot of ways. It's
Fast-mander, if
fast
you will.
Commander. So it's a 60 card format with a singleton rule like commander. Instead of playing with legendary creatures as your commander, you play with a legendary planeswalker as your commander. Ooh. And you also get a signature spell that goes along with them. So you have 2 cards that start in the command zone. And so it's a legendary planeswalker and an instant or sorcery that's within their colors. And so you play a 60 card deck and it's very fast. We played 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was a 45-minute game. That's why we like it because I would say, Megan, the number one thing people say to us is you should play more Commander.
Yes.
And we're like, look.
We cannot shuffle 100 cards.
100 cards is a lot of cards.
We cannot.
Right.
And also, Commander games can take
hours.
Forever,
Yes.
right?
And
so if you're like, this is fun, I want to play a fun singleton multiplayer format that doesn't take 3 hours.
Yep.
Oathbreaker. Yeah.
Also, I'm friends with the Rules Committee. The Rules Committee is a different philosophy than the Commander Rules Committee. They ban a lot of fast mana artifacts. So if you dislike Soul Ring in Commander, great. Oathbreaker bans Soul Ring.
Hey, great.
Check out oathbreakermtg.com if you want to get started with the format, learn some rules about it, and find out what's going on. We should talk about some of these sweet Oathbreaker cards from this set.
Yeah, let's do it. Rob, you've chosen.
I like Vivian on the Hunt. So there's 3 Planeswalkers in the set. This is the one that I got. She is birthing pod in the command zone, which is incredible.
For people who like that, they really like it.
Yes. So she's green 4. She starts with 4 loyalty as a Planeswalker. +2, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So, like actual literal birthing pod.
Yep, exactly.
+1, mill 5 cards, then put any number of creature cards milled this way into your hand.
Sick. Great.
Which is like everything you want out of a +1, really. And -1 is create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token.
She can do it immediately.
She can she doesn't have an ultimate. This is just a -1, and it leaves her at 3 loyalty with a pretty beefy blocker. So if you don't know what to do, you can just make a Rhino token.
Megan, how do you feel about Rhino tokens? I know you don't like
Bad,
siege rhinos.
bad.
So. Any Rhino you don't like.
Do you have experiences in Modern?
Rhinos can bite me.
Well, they will.
I mean, they're herbivores. They'll probably like gore you.
Are they herbivores in the same way that like hippos are herbivores
exactly
and they murder more people than any other animal?
Yeah, they're the top of the herbivore chain. They're designed to survive predators. So yeah,
they really are. Honestly, it's surprising that rhinos aren't more successful globally, considering how well armored they are against predators.
Yep.
What is the rhino's global success rate? Let's talk about that next episode.
We could talk about that. I picked for a signature spell with Vivian, and I'm actually probably going to have this deck together for my Oathbreaker game next week.
Ooh, nice.
I picked Once in Future as my signature spell, which is from Eldraine.
Yeah.
It's green and 3 for an instant. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Put up to 1 other target card from your graveyard on top of your library. Exile Once in Future. Which, I mean, you're doing that anyways. The way that signature spells work in Oathbreaker is they go back to the command zone after you play them, and then they cost 2 more, just like a commander does. So Once in Future doesn't really have that drawback.
Nice.
And then Once in Future also has Adamant. If at least 3 green mana was spent to cast the spell, instead return both the cards to your hand that you targeted and exile Once in Future like normal.
And you're playing a mono green deck.
Exactly. Yeah. So that this just is an instant that returns 2 cards to your hand, which is pretty. So with Vivian, her plus that mills you can mill 5 cards, which you get to see extra cards to return with Once in Future.
Wow.
Which I think is pretty exciting.
This seems pretty sick.
It's pretty good. I like this card a lot. Eldraine had a lot of really busted cards all across the rarity spectrum, and this is a sleeper from it, I think.
I mean, it's also one of my favorite named cards as a fan of Arthurian literature.
There are so many good names from Eldraine, and this name is great. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be putting together for next week for my Oathbreaker.
That's pretty sweet. Megan, who did you choose for your Oathbreaker and your signature spell?
I'm gonna pick Nixalis, the man who draw cards.
Yep.
Shocking.
I'm surprised.
Shocking.
Otherwise known as Omnicsulus the Adversary. 1 black-red for a legendary planeswalker, Nixalis. 3 loyalty, but he does have casualty X, so you can sacrifice a creature with power X, and when you do, you copy this guy. The copy isn't legendary and has starting loyalty equal to the sacrificed creature's power. +1, each opponent loses 2 life unless they discard a card. If you control a demon or devil, you gain 2 life. Hello, yes, each opponent. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
each of you.
Each.
Delightful. -2, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. And -7, hello, target player draws 7 cards and loses 7 life.
Yikes.
Perfection.
Yes.
Amazing. How many I want.
And you can do that right away if you sacrifice like a 7, right?
Yes, exactly. So, we can make a big demon boy with this card that Rob taught me about called Promise of Power. 2 black for a sorcery. Choose 1. You draw 5 cards and you lose 5 life. It's going to be really hard for me not to just automatically pick that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to do what you don't want to do because it's right, which is put an XX black demon creature token with flying onto the battlefield, where X is the number of cards in your hand as the token enters the battlefield. It does also have Entwine 4, although that is a boatload of mana.
Yeah, that's a lot
of money.
So yes, like what I can just like make this demon have a demon for Omnicsulus's ability that wants to be meaner to people. If you have demons and devils, I can make a big creature. I can just make a big creature to sacrifice to that casualty ability.
Though you have to have Omnicsulus in the battlefield for for the casualty to happen.
Yeah. But what if I make this, Omnicsulus is here, I make demon, Omnicsulus later die, I make Omnicsulus again.
It's true.
There we go.
It's true. Like you could also play like big things like Rotting Registrar.
Oh yeah.
Draw 7 cards right away
nice.
with Omnicsulus. Ship him immediately.
Also,
and then the next turn use Promise of Power to make like a 10/10.
Rotting Registrar is...
That's just like a good card to put in
Right.
It is 7
It's
power.
huge, right?
And it's
Yeah.
3 mana.
It's a big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems like a good card to put an Oathbreaker
Yeah,
deck.
and you get to play things like Ball Lightning with that too, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yes.
could like, if you have 6 men, you can Ball Lightning and then Omnicsulus and eat it.
Great. Perfect. Just be like, yes, here's my 2 Omnixuli.
Yep.
And also, okay, if I like cast my Omnicsulus and I casualty him, so I have 2 Omnicsulus in play. I allow the genuine Omnicsulus to die. Which is what we're going to call the one that's not a copy.
If you know the real Omnicsulus, you know the answer to this question.
All right. Which of you is the genuine Omnicsulus? Can I, and then have him in the command zone, I can cast him again and have up to 3 Omniculi.
You can have a lot. You can have as many as you want on the battlefield.
What?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep. Because the casualty copies aren't legendary. Yeah.
All right. My only goal is to see how many Omniculi I can
very
have
reasonable.
on the battlefield.
It's very reasonable.
Well, I chose Elspeth Resplendent as our remaining planeswalker from Streets of New Capenna to be my commander, or my Oathbreaker, if you will. She costs 3 white for 5 loyalty, legendary planeswalker. Elspeth. +1, choose up to 1 target creature. Put a +1/+1 counter and a counter from among flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance on it.
Ooh.
I love that ability, obviously.
Yep.
-3, look at the top 7 cards of your library. 7 is a lot. You may put a permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And I've got to say, playing with shield counters for the first time
They were very good.
this past weekend, I loved them.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be annoyed with them, which I certainly was.
I was. My opponents had them a lot, and I was very annoyed.
In a bunch of cases. But I also really liked how they played. It made for some really interesting decisions.
Yeah.
Anyway, -7, create 5 3/3 white angel creature tokens with flying.
Yes. Cute.
Yes, I love creatures. I love buffing my creatures. Rob said the -3 is also build your own boggle, which, hello. I can get on board with that. And it all comes together with her signature spell, which is Damning Verdict, which is from Streets of New Capenna Commander.
Yeah.
Also 3 white for a sorcery. Destroy all creatures. You're like, Maria, what? No, you can't destroy all creatures. Wait, there's more text with no counters on them.
Wow.
Yes.
Elspeth protects your creatures from this in 2 different ways.
I think that's so cool. One-sided board wipe. I'm in favor of that as long as my creatures aren't dying.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Exactly.
The flavor text, guilty as charged.
Delightful.
I think this could be such a fun deck to build an Oathbreaker, trying to do all the things with +1/+1 counters, various types of counters, and also proliferate potentially if that exists in white. I don't actually know.
There's a couple of white proliferates. Like the other counters that she makes, you don't really do a lot if you make 2 of them.
Sure.
But there's a lot of things that like spend counters.
My creature has flying twice.
Yeah, double flying. Double flying.
Yeah.
Means it can't block non-flyers. But I really like the -3 because you can find anything with it.
Yeah.
You can find artifacts and enchantments that aren't creatures, which is really weird.
Yeah, it says a permanent card with mana value through it less.
So you're never gonna miss because you'll have a land in your top 7, right?
Yeah.
You can put a little, a little halo with a shield counter on it. What's the one I'm thinking of? Come on, Maria.
What?
Halo.
Are you thinking of Jesus Crown?
Yes.
Jesus Hat?
I'm obviously
Daybreak
talking
Coronet.
about
Daybreak
Jesus
Coronet?
hat.
Yeah, you can put Daybreak Coronet directly onto your creature. And it's during the resolution, so they can't respond to kill your creature either.
I will be doing that. So what cards are legal in Oathbreaker, by the way, Rob?
Oathbreaker is basically all cards from the history of Magic with a fairly extensive banned list.
Okay.
Like I said, it bans fast mana, it bans like the Power 9, it bans a handful of cards for price. It's similar to Commander, but with a bit more restrictive list. So,
Rob, something else that you decided to do was choose some other cool cards from Streets of New Capenna that could work in Oathbreaker.
Yeah, especially New Capenna Commander, but the one that I want to call out for sure is Luxor, Giada's Gift. So this is 1 mana legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. Equipped permanent isn't a planeswalker and is a creature in addition to its other types. Loyalty abilities can still be activated. Equip planeswalker 1, equip 3.
Yeah, so this is going in my deck, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. This goes on your Oathbreaker to make them capable of dealing damage. Now, one of the things that Oathbreaker doesn't have is command damage. Is commander damage.
Right.
So in normal Commander, if you deal 21 points of damage from your commander, you kill them. Oathbreaker, you start at 20 life like a normal game of Magic, so you don't have that is a real out. But realistically, like there's a lot of commanders that are just huge. Or a lot of Oathbreakers that are just huge. They start with 7 counters. Like you have Kiora, Behemoth Beckoner is my favorite Oathbreaker that I have. She starts with 7 loyalty, right?
Nice.
So it's a nice little 7/7.
Yeah, 7/7 for 3. It's pretty good. So Luxor lets you punch real hard with your Oathbreaker basically all the time in any of those decks.
I like this because when we played our game of Oathbreaker, it was super fun. And it was like another great way to get damage through other than relying on, your draw step or your cards in hand. Because you always have access to your Oathbreaker.
And your Planeswalker just generates a lot of value from that spot. But then Luxor lets you generate the value from it and then also attack other Planeswalkers, which is pretty nice.
It made the top 10 worst cards for our sealed video, but definitely not here.
Yeah, in sealed, it's really questionable, right? Because
Thank you, Rob.
It's going to do +1/+1 or +2/+2.
Probably not.
I don't think
great.
it's necessarily terrible, but your deck has to be doing you probably need to be the white deck with a lot of shield counters or something for it.
The brokers.
And the brokers deck it can make some good use of it, but it doesn't give an inherent bonus. So if your creature is just a random, there's a bunch of 4/4s that get +X/+X or whatever in this set. They're great on their own, but this doesn't do anything for them.
Another card we were like, this isn't good in limited, but it's good in Oathbreaker.
Good in Oathbreaker. Scheming Fence. Yes.
Also taught Maria what a fence is.
Oh
exactly.
My gosh. Oh, hold on. Okay, so I had never in my life, to my knowledge, heard the term fence before our conversation, right?
Yes.
On the last
in this
episode.
particular context.
In this context.
In this meaning.
Yes. But for people who don't know, I've been watching Columbo. I've been going through all Columbo. All 16 seasons.
And he's going to talk about fences all the time now, isn't he?
Well, here's the thing. I hadn't actually seen the very first episode of Columbo, which isn't part of the series. It's a made-for-TV movie that they did as a pilot, which is based on the stage play that birthed Columbo. It was birthed by a stage play, everybody.
This is totally news to me. I'm learning things that I really enjoy.
I mean, highly recommend this episode of television. So this came out. It was the first one. ever made based on the stage play called Prescription Murder. If you have Peacock, that's how I watched it. So sorry, but yeah, that's how it has to happen. Peter Falk plays Columbo, and the first time ever, and he's just like so well put together. Like he doesn't have the messy hair or the rumpled coat yet or anything.
Yep.
He's great. Anyway, it is really, really good. It is the best episode of Columbo, I think. It's not even technically an episode of Columbo, but they use the word fence in it mere days after the first time I ever heard it used.
Wow.
Isn't that weird how that happens?
The Beider-Meinhof phenomenon, right?
I don't know.
Wow.
It's when you see something and it calls out to you, then you notice it a bunch.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it
just
was.
jumps out of the background for you.
A character was like, I fenced it. And I was like,
yeah, fenced stolen goods.
Anyway,
Anyways,
continue.
we're talking scheming
Watch
fence.
Columbo.
Yes.
We got a lot of information on that episode of Columbo that was not relevant to the story that Maria was telling us.
I just want to talk about Columbo. Let's get real.
Like I said, I'm learning things. Scheming Fence wants to learn things too. He's blue-white for a 2/3 creature human citizen. As Scheming Fence enters the battlefield, you may choose a non-land permanent, so something that's already on the battlefield. Activated abilities of the chosen permanent can't be activated, so it stops their Oathbreaker from using their loyalty abilities. Scheming Fence has all activated abilities of the chosen permanent except for loyalty abilities. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to activate those abilities. So he kills Oathbreakers, but leaves them on the battlefield, so they can't just recast them. They're stuck there.
Ooh,
so they have to figure out how to kill them, right?
Yeah.
And then nobody's going to attack them because they can't activate their abilities. And then he attacks other people's creatures or other people's planeswalkers and blocks for your Oathbreaker.
That seems very good in this format.
He's really great, and he's got a 2/3 for 2 is not terrible either.
No,
like on top of
solid.
So he also just randomly bonks other things like good equipment or whatever because he can like Luxor. The last thing, if he picks Luxor, it stops you from equipping it. I guess you're stuck.
Yeah. The next one you chose is Into Deep.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's an aura for blue, split second.
Wow.
So while it's on the stack, your opponent can't activate abilities or cast spells, so they can't counter this.
Don't try and counter this spell.
Enchant creature, planeswalker, or clue. What? This is a totally new line of text, and it's so cool. Enchant clue is such a strange type of enchantment to have.
Well, now you know what kind of deck wants to play
right.
this.
Well, do you? This goes in any deck. Enchanted permanent is a colorless clue artifact with 2 mana, sacrifice this artifact, draw a card, and loses all other abilities.
Hey, I'm going to enchant this clue. Now it clue.
Yeah. Now it's a clue.
This is designed for turning your opponent's stuff into clues, which they get to get some value back out of by sacrificing or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just super funny that you get to
you can do it to their planeswalker.
Yeah, you could do it to the Oathbreaker. So it's really good removal for any creatures or planeswalkers. Blue to kill a permanent.
Yeah.
Is that's pretty good. And split second means they can't respond to it.
Yeah.
So they can't just sacrifice their creature in response. It's a clue now. They need to go investigate that.
Right? Also, this art.
I love it.
This art is fantastic.
So cool.
This harkens back to all the split second spells in Time Spiral have this sweep of time where it's the past and the present.
Yeah.
And so this is a person and then their chalk outline.
So cool.
Uh-oh, buddy.
This next one you chose, particularly love.
This is the card I'm most excited from New Capenna in Oathbreaker, which is Lethal Scheme. Black 2 for an instant with Convoke. You can tap your creatures to pay for the mana for this spell. They either pay for colorless or they pay for their color. So if you have a black creature, you can tap it to pay for one of the black pips. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Each creature that convoked Lethal Scheme connives.
Nice.
So
real nice.
Yeah. If this is in your command zone as your signature spell, you can play your Oathbreaker, and then you can cast this using all your creatures to loot for the amount that you
if you have 4 creatures, you can do it 4 times. Connive
you can
4
pay
times.
you can pay all 4 with connive. You draw 4 cards, and they get some amount of random counters sometimes, depending on what you discard.
Amazing.
And you can pay your command tax with this. So as the spell gets more expensive, you get to loot more.
Oh, that's cool.
That's fine.
I like that.
I'm
really
in, right?
spicy.
Wow, this is a really fun. Lots of possibilities with this one.
Yeah, and flexible removal is always good. That's one of the things that I like on a signature spell is either something that digs me back into the game or flexible removal to interact with the other stuff. Now that I've got an Oathbreaker down, if you have signature spells that are free, or can be paid with alternative costs like this, you can oftentimes just play your Oathbreaker, and then immediately play your signature spell.
Yeah.
Which is pretty great.
Wow. Well,
Nice.
Rob, thank you so much for showing off these new
Yeah.
cool cards from Streets of New Capenna for Oathbreaker and for helping us design some cool planeswalkers and signature spells from this set. I think these would make super fun decks to play.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to have another Oathbreaker game sometime.
I think we might.
We might.
We can get these put together.
Yeah, and if you are interested in checking out Oathbreaker, where should you go again, Rob?
Oathbreakermtg.com will take you there. And it'll take a second to redirect, but it's fine. It's a fun page, has all the band list, has all the cool stuff, all the tweets about it are all hanging out there.
Yeah.
Nice.
We recommend it. It's a really fun format.
It's so fun.
Check
you
it
can
out.
shuffle it and it doesn't take a lifetime.
It's true.
And you can play with many people.
Yep.
Perfect.